Right, go there.
Good evening, welcome to Football Fever. We've got Jay, Mark, and Ralph on tonight. Welcome back, gents. So we've hit the international break this week, and since our last show, had two England performances, hardly against some of the top teams in the world, but two very different games, two very different opponents, I think it's fair to say. So before we get into our usual kind of points that I've written down and sent you in advance, let's just talk about today's game. So, Jay, what did you make of the game? Sorry, Jay, did you see the game today?
I didn't. That's bad, that, isn't it?
I'm going to ask you what you saw of the game. We'll come back to you.
I ruined it. Sorry.
So, Ralph, did you see the game?
No, I didn't bother, mate. I don't bother watching international. I find it boring.
So it's a process of elimination, really, isn't it? So, Mark, what do you think of the game while you were watching up?
I mean, the starting lineup I was happier with than the San Marino starting lineup, but I think he was always going to go stronger today than the other night. We seemed pretty efficient, pretty professional game. Everyone had a sort of a 7 out of a 10 game by the look of it. Nobody really stood out as taking control of the game. Everyone just sort of did their bit and ticked it over nicely, really. Nothing flashy, nothing to get overly excited about, but job
Albania are better than we probably think Albania are in our heads.
Yeah.
Would you agree that very organised, very good at the back, got a bit of pace on the counter?
Yeah. On the counter, they had a couple of opportunities where they could have done something, and even at 2-0, I don't think England could feel totally comfortable. I think they would have quite liked another one, really.
I went back to the previous results, Mark, just to see how they'd done just before we came on air and we were waiting for the computer to boot up. And whilst they've had some right banana skins, I think they've lost to Luxembourg, which we'll come to a little bit later. But when France played them in 2019, 2-0 to France, which shows, that I think they tend to park the bus against bigger teams.
Yeah.
Really, really organised. The likes of which we saw today. So, who was your man of the match, Mark?
If I'm honest, mate, there wasn't one. No, I couldn't say anybody stood out for me.
Okay.
They gave it Harry Kane, I think, on Sky Sports.
They gave Harry Kane purely for his goal, and his movement was pretty good, but at times he was going too deep. Really, I think we could have easily kept him up top, and he might have nicked a couple more.
Mourinho.
We had enough possession and enough control of the game that he didn't really need to play too deep.
Yeah, 75% possession, but I think sometimes that can be a problem for England. We struggle to find the movement, don't we, when we're playing against 10 men behind the ball, and that's when Kane tends to go deep. For me, I thought Mount was man of the match. I know I was raving about him after San Marino, but I thought he was absolutely brilliant again.
I've always thought he's a decent player. I've never been too excited by him, but the last couple of games, absolutely, very, very decent footballer. And he's definitely going to be in Southgate's starting lineup, as far as I'm concerned.
He always wants the ball, doesn't he? For me, it was him. The last two games, him and Lingard, whenever they're on the park, always want the ball. So they're always, as soon as they're giving it away, they're looking for more space to get him to move to the ball. And I think Mount, out of the two of them, obviously Mount scored in both games as well. Really, really stood out. And so it's fantastic today. I think he was different.
He's obviously had some criticism over the past season or two, isn't he? We've been sort of Frank's golden boy and this, that, and the other. But I think the only reason he's had criticism is because he's not flashy. He's just consistently efficient.
Yeah.
But he's never gonna attract a Barcelona or a PSG. But he's going to do so well in the Premier League. He's the sort of player the English fans love.
Is it fair to say he's improving? Because, certainly what I've seen for England was very different to the Mason Mount of last season, who was great anyway. But, he's keeping the ball and he's winning the ball back a lot as well. And
I think
he gets the ball and he does something with it. He doesn't waste it, which to me is so important in international level.
Yeah, I think Tuchel will bring it out of him. I really do. I think Lampard, good manager, but maybe not got the experience to concentrate on the team on one player. But I think in the end, give it a couple of years, I think Tuchel will start building his team around him.
yeah, I think from the 3 Chelsea lads that played for England the other day, that was something that was immediately apparent to me, was how they win a pass first touch. Because we talk about first touch a lot in English football, but it's mainly 2 touches. Let's control and then pass on. So we move it quickly, but there's normally, we don't really do tiki-taka like we like to pretend we do. But those Chelsea have started doing it under Tuchel, and the 3 lads were doing it the other night. I know it's San Marino, so it's easy to look flash, isn't it, against
You still got to play it, though, haven't you?
a banker and a petrol pump attendant and all that. Yeah, you do. All right. So, Mark, I don't know if it was clear from the dodgy photo I sent. I shouldn't really say dodgy photo, should I? Because people might get the wrong impression. But so that first question was the one that you were asking me about on Messenger the other day, but it was longer than that. So, do you want to explain what the question or the thesis is, and then we'll expand it amongst us?
Okay. So my point to you was that as a country at the minute, we're constantly talking about us having a depth of young, exciting forward players. Yet our weakness is to a degree, our defence. Firstly, we're all right defensively, but we're not excitingly good defensively. When it comes to Southgate picking his team, I think everyone's guessing and trying to work out what his starting lineup is going to be. But I think he's going to chop and change it as to who we're against. Whether we're against the Croatia or we're against the Germany or we're against whoever. My point is, why aren't we, if we're going into the Euros as pretty much favourites, if not second, third favourite, why aren't we playing our game, going all-out attack to score goals and letting other teams adapt to us? Why do we always adapt to who we're playing against rather than having an identity? You'll never catch France or Spain or Germany changing their systems to face us. They do what they do. And that's where I think we come a cropper when it comes to the latter stages or against those bigger teams, because we lack that consistency of a system and an identity. So that was my point. Should we have one system and go for it? Go for goals every game and just score more than we lost. That used to kind of be Man United's system with Ferguson. Was go and score goals. Score more goals than the other team and you win. And with the squads we've got at the moment, we can do that.
You say that, but weren't Vidic and Ferdinand just voted the best defensive combo in Premier League history? So
obviously they gave us the confidence to go and do that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, every attack starts in defence, doesn't it? That's what they say. So,
but we haven't always had Ferdinand and Vidic.
No, true enough. So Ralph, what do you think? Should we stick to one system or should we adapt to the teams that we face?
I just think I find international football for England very boring. I think we should be a bit more positive. And basically, we had the players years ago in Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes, etc., and we didn't really do much with it, did we? So I think now we got to be a bit more, fearless rather than playing to our names of our players. We had a. If you could get the heart of the defence, I think Mark's right in a way. Same with Liverpool's outlook on it when they had Van Dijk playing. He sort of orchestrated the attacks because he was so strong at the back. So Liverpool managed to play, free-flowing football forward. If we could do that with England, then I think we got a different team. But I think Southgate just picks. It's mainly on names, isn't it? You know what I mean? Why hasn't Henderson had a going goal? Why wasn't he picked against San Marino? Is he willing to change, or is he always going to pick his safe option?
I think with his keeper, he's nailed his colours nailed his flag to the mast now, isn't he? That he wants to have one keeper to the tournament. Pickford's out. It would have been Pickford otherwise because that's his keeper. And now it's not him. It's Pope, and I guess that Henderson's a backup. But it's a fair point when you're trying 6 other players against San Marino that didn't get on the pitch today. Why wouldn't you try Henderson as well? Well, I guess because you might not get to touch the ball would be the only against San Marino.
My point of it is he's just going to go. Apparently, it said in the commentary. I watched the first 10 minutes of the game today, and they reckon that Southgate already knows his starting 11 for the first game in the tournament. So is all this a waste of time? He's already going to pick who he wants.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I mean, it's World Cup qualifiers at the moment, isn't it? Because of the overlap. But,
it's always the same opponents, isn't it? What can you really test yourself at?
No, well, you can't. I mean, you look at that. You look at the group stage, and then you look at for the qualifiers. But then you look at I've got it as a question further down. Then you look at England's group in the Euros, and just to step up from the qualifying for the World Cup to who England have got in the Euros is going to be a challenge. Because you're talking, got the Czech Republic, who nearly beat Belgium yesterday, but England can't beat Belgium, So there's a clear step in class, isn't there, that we're kind of always unprepared for. So Jay, what do you think? Should we stick or twist with our playing style, with our tactics, dependent upon the opponents, or should we just be good enough to play one style?
We should play one style. I really do. I never get over the years why England are in the league with the most free-flowing attacking league, but we try and play like a Spanish team. I've never got it. Just go out there, just try and attack, and like Mark said, start from the front. And isn't it? The attack's the best form of defence. It is. Like Liverpool nearly won a league with the worst defence probably in Premier League history. But I would stick with one style. I wouldn't try and change it. I know the modern game's going that way, but I put the odd change, and that's it. Like I get if you're playing like France, the odd change, but I wouldn't then go drastic and put like a 5 at the back instead of playing 4. I try and keep the system, but just little changes for games. I wouldn't do a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with all 3 of you. Only I'd train other systems for if you need them during the game. But you should be starting every game, with that same attacking outlook as Mark's original point was. You've got that much talent, then attack because you're more likely to score goals. You're more likely to score goals. You know what it's like once you're 2-0 up against most teams, and then you can start to control the game a lot better. Their heads go down, your confidence goes up. Your passing gets slicker and all of that, doesn't it? And suddenly seeing out a game's a lot easier. And
prime example for that, then, if you're saying youth and if he was playing on form rather than names, take for example Wan-Bissaka, probably been the best fullback in the league defensively this year or this season, and he ain't even been sniffed into the squad into 23 or whatever he picked.
It brings us on to, let's just go straight on to our second point we've got tonight. So Jay and I were talking about this week because we were having a bit of banter about Trent, about has he been dropped? Is dropping him because of kind of temporary loss of form a mistake, given that he's been so good for so long, and he could bounce back? Should he be exposed in the run up to the Euros, despite the fact he's had a bit of bad run, or is it in fact the case that he's only had a couple of bad games, but because Liverpool have been playing badly, the perception is that Trent's been playing badly for so long, which I'm open to. So I think it's only fair to take that to you, Jay, as a question.
Yeah, with England squads and everything, I think you've got to have. There's players that get in. Your Harry Kanes, I think your Jordan Hendersons at the moment, your goalkeepers. Harry Maguire will get in every single squad. I think you've got to have a core of players and then spots that you can rotate for form. I think if you're just genuinely going on form for the past 8, 9, 10 games, then every England squad is going to have 10 new players. Well, it should do if that's the way that you're going with it. So I think Trent's probably going to be England right back for the next 5, 6 years at least. If I was him, I would be swapping it with Wan-Bissaka, and that's one of the tactic things that I would do if I was playing like a France or something. I would play Wan-Bissaka over Trent Alexander-Arnold. But I just think your big players should always get in. I would have picked Trent every day of the week. I don't know if anyone agrees with me.
I don't know. I think it's down. It's like now when you get to the actual tournament itself, what's he going to do? Basically, stick it to the same side that he's picked for these friendlies, or is he going to go on what's happening around that time? Is he going to stay to the form of the actual players?
That's the thing, and then you've got a group of players that haven't played and met in many games with them. So if you keep to a core players, then you've got 10 players that already know how the style of games are, and then you've got the rest of them that come into the squad, just have a little bit of quality with the form that they've got on. And also, I think this going on form, it's like over the past 12 months, Trent Alexander-Arnold's had 9 excellent months. He's had 3 where I don't think he's been that bad. I don't think he's been awful. He's not been up to his standard, he really hasn't, but he's not been awful. So why should he be out of the England squad when he's had 9 out of 12 months? Like, really good.
I personally think Southgate's done him a favour. I don't think he's going to gain anything from joining up with the England squad at the minute. At the end of the day, he's looking tired and kind of drained from it all at the minute. So why not give him that 2 weeks rest, kind of gather himself? If anything, it's going to have a positive effect on him with regards to the international duty. He's going to go back in for the last 9 games thinking, I've got to really do something now to get a spot on the plane. And Southgate isn't going to forget how phenomenally good he's been for the past few years. I've got no doubt he'll probably still be going to the Euros. I just think Southgate's doing him a favour and just giving him a bit of a rest.
Well, if that's
why
the
not
case,
explain it like that though? Explain it with he's in bad form, that he's out the squad. I just think if Harry Kane had 2-3 months bad, is Harry Kane going to be out? No, you pick Harry Kane every day of the week, no matter if he hasn't scored for 2 months, you'd still pick him. And I know it's a bit different because Harry Kane's probably the most important player, but
does it make a difference that we've got so many options at right back that we can almost afford to not take him?
Yeah, but I know what you mean. And if Southgate would have explained it the way that you just explained it, then fair enough. Whatever, come back from here. He knows that he's not 100% safe, but the way he said it is, he's not in form, he's not going to get picked. Well, are we doing that with every single one of the players then? I don't think they will.
I mean, I imagine the conversation they would have had with Trent would have been very different to what he said to the press. And I think I said in our chat, Jay. I'm sure that Trent will be at the Euros, and once he's there and he's had a run of a few games, he's got to be first on the team sheet because of the last 2 years. And the fact that we can go into some qualification matches without Trent being in the squad and without Wan-Bissaka being in the squad, arguably 2 of the best right backs England have seen since Gary Neville sort of times, is incredible, really, isn't it? And I know we had Walker there today, who he's got an error in him at full back, but probably a safe pair of experienced hands to see us through these games and maybe get to that point where we're looking at the Euros with younger, better, more technically gifted footballers. And I, for one, I'll be annoyed if Trent and Wan-Bissaka aren't on that plane because they're our 2 best right backs. Yeah. And
I don't think he'll pick Wan-Bissaka. I don't think he'll pick Wan-Bissaka. I don't think he likes him, but I don't get why.
I can't get my head around why he wouldn't pick him because I think, as you said, Jay, when you're looking at really tough opposition and you're playing 4 at the back, you need someone that is going to stop Mbappe, for example, absolutely caning you down the left. And Wan-Bissaka is the kind of footballer that can do that. Cole Walker isn't. So
yeah, he's double the player on like a one-on-one defensively than Trent is. It's just that Trent is so good going forward. He's good in defence. Trent, he is good, but Wan-Bissaka is double the defender that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what then? So then, why wouldn't you have faith in your midfield, and why don't you just pick an old-fashioned winger? like the likes of Beckham. You never seen Gary Neville running that down.
Yeah,
with
it's not the
he's
game
never in a
anymore.
good
They would
position.
probably play it'd be like a
Why not just keep
4-3-3
him-
now, right, wouldn't it?
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. No, I get that it's not the game, but you're looking at we want to win a tournament, so shut out the opposition.
I think
and
that's
then
a bit mean,
it's
Ralph.
not
I thought
really-
Neville was all right at
win
crossing.
games.
I was going to say the same, actually. A massive part of Neville's game was the overlap with Beckham, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think he's not as right. So I'm not saying that he can't. Wan-Bissaka does it. But
No.
he ain't exactly.
I mean, last season, until
fantastic
this
crossing the
season,
ball, is he?
you didn't really see him do it at all, did you? That was the major criticism of him. He's fine until he gets over the halfway line, and then he can't do anything. So he's improved. I get, you could argue he's not the finished article going forward, and why don't you play a winger? Yeah, why don't you have a good winger going up and down the flanks instead?
90% of Gary Neville's overlapping was to create Beckham that space. It wasn't to be, let's definitely use Gary Neville because he's going to whip the ball in better than Becks.
He was
to
all
create-
right
it was to
crossing
create that
Beckham,
space
wasn't
for Beckham.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah,
Average.
he's average, yeah.
Right. So Portugal, sorry, Ralph, you wouldn't have seen this, but shared the Portugal team from a couple. I think it was the last game they played the other day. Just with kind of a few exclamation marks about how much quality they've got in their team, and it was their first team without Ronaldo, so Jota starting and Ronaldo on the bench. But just with the observation, I think there was one Wolves player, Moutinho, made it into that team, and the rest of the Portuguese Wolves players aren't in the team at all. And I will admit that it was the first time that I realised that both Diaz and Cancelo are Portuguese. I thought they're both Brazilian. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is they've got a brilliant defence now as well as being good going forward. Have they got a chance at the Euros, Mark?
For me, they're maybe joint favourites with France. I think after you sent that picture the other day of the Portuguese team, I went and had a look at all the different squads of the main sort of big teams: Portugal, France, Germany, Spain, England. And Portugal and France really does stand out as so strong in every position. Don't get me wrong, I think we are as well. I think we're up there. But yeah, they've absolutely got a chance. Right up there.
I mean,
I wouldn't want to
both
play
got
them.
momentum, haven't they? In so much as France are world champions, Portugal are European champions, Nation Leagues holders, if you can call it that. I don't know, because there's two versions, isn't there? But I think they both got used to winning, haven't they? And I, for one, wouldn't want to. We get out of our group stage. I don't know which way the draws go and stuff, but you wouldn't want Portugal in the first knockout stage, would you? At all.
No.
What do you think? What do you think, Ralph? Do you think they can win it?
Well, what did they win in their last tournament?
Yeah, I think they won the
Portugal.
last Euros. Which it was the one with Ronaldo, 2016. The one where Ronaldo was injured in the final and managing the team from the touchline. Don't know if I've lost you there, Ralph. If you're just staring me out.
Well, mate,
It's a big concern for a minute there.
Oh,
What happened there?
your video is I can hear you, but your video is frozen.
I think they've always got a chance. I think when you got Ronaldo in the side, now they got the likes of Fernandes ruling the Premier League, and Cancelo getting his starting place with Man City, and Diaz being heart of City's defence. I think they're up there, and I think.
Yeah, I think so. The bit me and Mark were talking about was you've got Ronaldo, who's always got goals in him. Whether he starts or whether he doesn't, he's a great captain and a great forward still. But if for any reason Ronaldo's not there, and then you've got João Felix essentially, who hasn't done it as much as he should have done for Atletico. But I think I said to Mike, this could be his tournament in so much as he's got. If he's going to grow up at some point, it's going to be on the big stage, isn't it? And it could be this one because he's kind of Neymar-esque at times. Neymar for a while didn't have the goals to show for it, and then hit a few tournaments, started looking better. I'm scared. What do you think, Jay?
I think they can, but I think it'll maybe come down to strength and depth. If they get a few injuries in key areas, just whether they can replace them. Like you said, Ronaldo, and then replacing him with Felix is a massive difference, because I think Felix is more of a creator than a goal scorer. And in his later years, Ronaldo is a goal scorer. He will just put the ball in. And maybe because Jota's been a little bit injury prone for Liverpool, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He missed 12 weeks shortly. Apparently he's supposed to have COVID now. That's what the rumours are. I don't think so. Nothing's been reported.
Oh, really?
But, well, apparently got tested positive, but I think that's just people spreading.
Was that today? Because he scored twice for Portugal yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was after the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just comes down to strength and depth. To be honest, I'm just looking at the bench now, and it's all right. It's all right players replacing world class players. And if they can keep a full team, then yeah, why not? They've got the starting 11 to do it. It's just whether obviously one or two injuries can just hinder them a little bit.
Yeah, I guess that is the difference. And when you look at the injuries we've come into our current phase of international football carrying, and thinking of, we could have Grealish available in the squad, could have Maddison available in the squad. So when I'm talking about being a bit static earlier, some of the players that we know are never static aren't even there for these games. And then you think, what does our bench look like versus Portugal's? Probably a lot better, to be fair, isn't it? And then it's just from our starting 11. Is our defence good enough to keep world-class strikers out? Well, we've got Slaven.
Even like for Portugal, Ronaldo goes out, Felix comes in, not a goal scorer. England, Harry Kane goes out, Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes in, both goal scorers, both similar players.
Yeah.
So it's there is quite a lot of like for like for England. So I'd probably say overall the squad is probably better for England. It's just whether Portugal can keep the players fit.
Yeah. Fair play.
I just think defensively they look so strong.
Yeah.
Diaz and Pepe at the back. Cancelo on the right. They've got 2 or 3 world-class goalkeepers. I think it'll take a lot of beating.
Silva in the middle.
100%,
Yeah, Bernardo Silva, I haven't even mentioned him, yeah.
I just think it's a strange one for. Are we being positive because our own country, and are we thinking, our players are world beaters? But are we thinking of, just too positive? And the likes of Ronaldo and all thinking, I can't wait to get up against Maguire and Stones. Do you know what I mean?
It's the way most tournaments, isn't it? We spend 4 years being pessimistic, and then the 3 weeks going into the tournament, we think we're going to win it, and then we draw one of the group games, and all get angry, scrape through, and get knocked out by a big boy normally. But I'd say the fact that we've got the semi and the final on home turf this year, it would be exceedingly disappointing if we don't make it to the semi as well. And I think that bar was set at the last tournament. Regardless of whether we're good enough or not. We probably weren't good enough last time, were we? But a good strategic way through the knockout rounds, and we were there. But then the minute we played against a team of experienced internationals that knew what they were doing on a big stage, we couldn't see it out. So same old England. So I put a question on here about the San Marino game. It's probably a bit retrospective now, given that we played again. But did you? Presuming you all watched or seen the highlights of that. Nice to see Ollie Watkins get on. We've talked about him in previous weeks. His goal was mustard, wasn't it? Really, really instinctive, and kind of what you want to see from your sub striker coming on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking Bristol protest.
I think because it's gone quiet in your Ralph, we better introduce some more noise.
They gone bed.
It's that's all that is.
Football fever, meet Arthur.
Sorry, yeah. Just waiting for this bus.
Yeah, nice to see. It was nice to see Ollie Watkins score, obviously.
Yeah, lovely goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I I thought most surprising contribution was Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, he was fantastic, wasn't he?
I thought he was superb, just so relaxed and he looked so comfortable.
Would you put him on the plane? Yeah.
Yeah, too right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what we said in the chat group afterwards. That look, here he is. Now Arthur's on camera. He's been brought like baby Jesus. There we go.
He's crying still, so I probably mute me.
Yeah, I just want to say, Arthur, don't support Liverpool.
Oh, he is. He's already been in his Liverpool coat today. That's why he's crying.
Yeah, poor lad. Put it back on you for a minute, Jay.
I think you've got to put him on because I think it's a bit like the Rooney's first tournament. I think you've got to take a youngster who ain't got no fear. He looked like a man. He looked like a man, and he played like a man. Then he's just. I thought he just settled right in. I know it was no opposition really, but decent.
You've got to have the kahunas to do it in the first place, haven't you? So the things that he was doing were kind of the things that you'd expect someone that's been in international for a couple of years to do. So I think you're right, Ralph. Completely fearless in his approach, but just his levels of skill as well for a kid that young. I mean, because the minute they said if he scores, he'll be the youngest ever England goal scorer. I was like, come on, Jude, do it for England. And then he nearly did, didn't he? He nearly scored. So what a story that would have been. But is there anyone that thinks he shouldn't be on the plane because we've wasted a valuable place for someone else? Someone's got to be dropped to put him on the plane, haven't they? Mark,
he's too young, too soon. He's not going to get a game. If we've got Rice, Henderson, Calvin Phillips, I reckon Eric Dyer comes ahead of him in the bloody rankings.
No, you're afraid. Eric Dyer's absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd choose Dyer, but I don't think he's going to get a game.
I've not seen him play in the German league, so that's why it was such a shock for me. Does he play as deep for Dortmund? Is it Dortmund he plays for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he play?
Yeah. From what I've seen, he plays a similar game to Declan Rice.
In front of the back four.
Yeah.
With a bit of box to box.
I get the feeling he can pretty much do a bit of everything.
He's attacking a lot for England.
But
he was in the penalty area a lot.
Yeah.
You got to. I don't think Henderson's a definite though, is he? Because I think he's struggling at a minute I think his timescale on his injury is looking like it's going to be close to the. God. I know he's a first name on the team sheet, but I think he's struggling for the fitness wise. I think
it'll be a big loss for me. I think we miss him controlling the tempo of games the minute he's not there. Same as Liverpool do when he's not there for Liverpool in midfield. And as much as I'm a massive Declan Rice fan, I don't think Rice does that like Henderson does. Phillips does at club level, but it's very different doing it on an international stage when you played a handful of games against San Marino, Albania, and Poland. I find that quite a worry to think that Henderson might not be there.
Yeah, the thought of being maybe like in a quarter-final, 1-1 against Germany or someone like that. The thought of not having an experienced head to really, I mean, Henderson's a vocal player, isn't he? He will rally. He'll rally the team together in a way that I don't think anybody else in the team at the moment will do.
Rice isn't the complete article at international level. Yeah, is he? You see him. Saw it in the game today. There was a couple of moments he didn't quite know what to do, and so he drifted. And you're like, you do that against one of the big boys. You're in the wrong position. That's the difference between an attacking phase of play for the team, isn't it? And you never see Henderson do that ever.
But if there was one spot left, and you had two choices, Phillips or Bellingham, I don't think Phillips is good enough to be. I think you've got to throw caution to the wind and choose Bellingham. So I don't see what Phillips really offers us.
After San Marino, I would have agreed with you, but I thought Phillips played better today than he did the other day. But I'd only be putting him on there if Henderson wasn't there. Now I know that. That must be a possibility for the fact he's played the whole game of both games.
I was going to say that Bellingham's not really that experienced, but just looking at it, he's played over 30-odd games for Dortmund this season.
Wow.
This is what I'm saying. He's learning his craft in one of the top leagues in Europe, in the Bundesliga. He's playing in a good side. He's got good players around him. Phillips has come from a championship side in the English league and had one season or half a season or three quarters of a season in the Premier League. What's to say he's a world beater? And Bellingham ain't going to create more or be a better tournament player than Phillips.
He can't even buy a drink yet. He can't be.
Neither could Rooney, though.
I hope the other ones aren't. We ain't getting pissed up before the games out there. Whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like he's going to go down the co-op and buy a crate of Carlin, is it?
My point is, I don't think any 17-year-old is a world beater.
What did you say about Rooney? Yeah, but Rooney? All right, so what about Rooney then when he played his first tournament?
No, he wasn't a world beater at 17. He wasn't.
He's the youngest ever goal scorer for England, so they took a punt on him and he scored. Had Bellingham scored the other day, it would have been and it was a whisker away from scoring. It would have been the youngest goal scorer ever. Messi started playing when he was 17. He was 16, I think, when he first played for Argentina, wasn't he? If someone's that good, then should we let age get in the way necessarily? Rio Ferdinand, 17, when he first went to the tournament, went to World Cup. 98 he went to.
Well, look at Erling Haaland. He's only 20.
Or
21.
You'll never win anything with kids.
Yeah, but he's one of the best players in the world at the minute. So I think you're only looking at 3 years younger, and the same side domestically. He's playing with Bellingham. I can't.
Haaland wasn't a world beater 3 years ago.
I didn't say he was, but what I'm saying is he's not much older. And look at him now. He's going to be one of the most feared strikers around. So,
ask me in 3 years' time then about Bellingham.
The question though is, was Haaland playing for Norway when he was 17?
Do you want to check?
Yeah, if you could, Jay. Our official stato, Jamie Chambers, is now looking up Haaland's debut for Norway.
What I'm trying to get at is the likes of Phillips going to win you a semi-final game, or is the likes of someone with a bit of with any fear, a bit of creativity could create you a chance or a goal?
I agree with you, Ralph. If it's Phillips or Bellingham, I take Bellingham on a wild card basis. Yeah,
no, I'm not saying he's one of the. He's a definite 23. One thing is you've picked your 22 and you've got one place left. Do you pick safety or do you pick?
I'll pick Andy Carroll just in case.
Yeah, I'm with you there, mate.
Haaland was 19. By the way.
Andy Carroll.
Pardon? He's 19 now.
No, he was 19 when he got his debut.
Oh, when he made his debut. Oh, there we go.
Just 19.
I mean, it's quite rare for it's rare for professionals to break through quite that young, isn't it? But if they're that good, he's got to be that good because Southgate played him the other day. You don't take someone and put them in the squad and play them if you don't think they're good enough to put on the shirt for whatever reason. And he said it after the game, there was other injuries, there were certain things that meant it's a good time to bring him in and see how he do. But when he's brought him in and seen how well he's done, and he's done well, then doesn't he deserve another shot? I thought he should have had the last 10 minutes today. Or, if we get ahead against Poland, he should have another shot there. And if he does good there, he should be considered. I don't think age should automatically discount him.
Look, just to clarify, Al, my only point on this was I wouldn't take him based on the fact I don't think he'll play, because I think Rice, Henderson and Phillips and then maybe Dyer or someone would get in ahead of him. So I don't think he would play if all those other players, and therefore he's taking up a seat that could go to and then somebody like Madison or like that isn't going to go. Somebody is going to have to miss out.
I see your point.
All of that.
Carry on, Ralph.
Go on. On all those players you just named, the Rice, Henderson, Phillips, aren't they all the similar sort of player?
Yeah.
So don't they all do the same job? So why have we got 6 midfielders all doing the defensive midfielder?
I'm not picking the squad. I'm just saying that it looks like that's what he's going to
That's what
pick.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying Southgate. Why would we pick? Why are we picking six defensive midfielders in a squad?
Yeah.
Is that where we think that we're the most threatening? Is it defensive midfield? Is that where we?
You're on form today.
And what I mean is, you got likes of Foden now. Foden's had 2 games for England, right? Or he played half a game Wednesday or Thursday and played a full game today, or near enough a full game today. Has he not looked our most competent player?
No, not really. He was all right. I thought he was quite underwhelming today. Oh, he's thing with Foden is he's improving all the time, isn't he? So
Sandwich.
I'd absolutely take him, but I wouldn't start him based on. And he did these mind-blowing things for City, but then he didn't do them against San Marino. And then, where would the?
I'd start him just because he destroyed Liverpool.
He was amazing in that game.
He's destroyed lots of teams though domestically.
Yeah.
All right, you got to look at it other ways. You got to look at it like an hour before kickoff, whatever. England has, or 4 hours before kickoff, England asked for the pitch to be cut today. So then, obviously, you're playing on an international pitch. It's probably not as good as fucking Plymouth Argyle's home pitch. So could they get back to that? Could the English players with the quality they got play decent football?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. It was hard to tell watching the game. I mean, I was watching on my phone, so I couldn't really see the quality of the grass.
Yeah.
But they were stroking it around well, and they were falling over more against San Marino than they were tonight. And we were at home against San Marino. Whether that's because it was wet, I don't know. But yeah, couldn't really tell. Let's move on. So, Republic of Ireland, and sorry if anyone's got any Irish blood in them. So lost to. Saw it was 0-0 at half time yesterday. And I had a chuckle at that, and then got to full time and they've lost. Ireland have lost to Luxembourg, and Ireland are struggling for goals at the moment. Anyway, I think they haven't scored for like 600 minutes or something. But just throwing it out there, how does an established team like the Republic of Ireland lose? I think when they're at home, they were at home as well to Luxembourg. How does that happen? Because greatest respect in the world to Luxembourg. They're no world beaters, are they? How can a team that in my living memory were at the quarterfinals of the World Cup, had loads of great players, be in a situation that they're in now? What's happened, Jay?
It's just games like this. They're just complacency. That's what it is. You go out, you think that you're going to absolutely smash someone. Yeah, you see it all the time in Carabao Cup, FA Cup. And Republic of Ireland, they're not like what you used to see them or anything. They are just probably quite a bad side in international standards. So once you've got a bad side that probably are looking forward to the Euros but not expected to do anything, come up with complacency and expected to win against Luxembourg when most of the times they're not expected to win. Slip-ups that happen, but it is embarrassing. There's no two ways about it. It is embarrassing.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. What?
I just think they're lacking in quality at the minute. Their squad isn't anywhere near as good as it was in the last 10, 15 years at times.
Yeah, I think Declan Rice was that close to winning Ireland play. He came out, he played for the youth team, and then got persuaded at the last minute by Southgate to play for England. I mean, he'd be gutted if he was playing for that side, wouldn't he? Because he's, they're not necessarily.
Grealish, didn't he?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Grealish played for their youth team.
And then made the switch.
Yeah, I think he did, but I don't think he was as late as Declan Rice.
But,
Who have they actually got in the squad that you could really say is world class?
Well, I know their number one keeper is Darren Randolph, who's our number 2 keeper, and I have reservations about him as a number 2 because he's a bit soft on shots sometimes, and that's from a mid to lower table Premier League team. But I don't really rate him as our second keeper. I haven't got the squad up, and to be honest, I haven't looked at it. you know, off the top of my head, I'm struggling to. Yeah, they've probably got
That's what I mean. It speaks for itself.
Hey,
You
Do you
can't
want me
think of
to read
anyone.
out some? I've just got it up here. Do you want me to read out some Premier League
Yes,
players?
please, Stato.
Go
Seamus
for it.
Coleman,
Quality.
Kyron Clark, he plays for
Kieran
Newcastle.
Clark, yeah.
Shane Duffy, Brighton, is it?
Yeah, he's good.
Celtic. Oh no, Shane. I thought Shane Duffy was Celtic.
Actually, yeah, the Brighton one that went
I don't
Celtic.
know.
Oh no, it is Duffy.
Robbie,
He's on loan.
Robbie Brady.
Burnley.
James McLean. He's still
Sunderland.
Sunderland. He's not Premier League. But Jeff Hendrick, is he still Burnley? Shane Long, Troy Parrott's that youngster from Spurs.
Yeah.
And that's it really.
But you'd expect.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
nothing.
basically. But they're the kind of like the main player. And that Christie, does he play for Celtic?
We can say
Maybe
nothing,
it's
but
in-
they're playing Luxembourg. Who've got a population of, I don't know, Bolton or
32.
something. It's
32.
32,000. That's like the size of Falmouth or
No,
something, isn't it?
32 people.
32 people. If you're male, you're in.
Yeah. You're gutted if you're missing out on that squad.
God, yeah, reminds me of my school football team. Jesus. So all right. So we've established that they're crap, but that's that's got a fair few Premier League players. All right, not the top echelon, but they've got to be finishing
should be
games
winning.
off like that, shouldn't they? Right, we're into fantasy league football territory now. Lads, if you could choose a team that you could, so you've got the power to relegate a team to the Premier League, who would you relegate? So you get to the end of the season, 3 teams go down, and then someone turns around and says you're allowed to select another team to go down. Who and why? Because it could be for various different reasons, couldn't it?
Liverpool.
Nah, you wouldn't want to pick Liverpool. I wouldn't pick United or Everton because of the games you look forward to them, don't you?
Yeah. No, I think it's easy to pull out a rival in it, but I've written down Brighton because I just think they've just about scraped through for a few years now. They're boring as hell to watch. It's time for them to go down, rebuild, and come back a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, I think I go Burnley just because it's just rubbish football, isn't it? And they always seem to get a draw against us.
Palace.
I like Burnley.
Palace. So Brighton.
I think though, like Palace, they got something about them, haven't they? They got like the wingers. They look like they do want to attack. It's like Burnley, just you two big guys. It's just old-fashioned football, old-fashioned defensive football. Annoys me watching Burnley, don't
See, I'd say I'm surprised about Brighton because I think they've been playing all right this season. They just can't keep a lead, but their attacking football's been all right on their day. But yeah, it's funny that everyone's gone for those teams that play. I was going to say like Stoke type teams that play direct.
Yeah, they're going to stay up. They're going to stay up, but they're never going to do anything else.
Yeah. I was going to say
Who would you say,
Burnley because they annoy me. They've beaten us quite a lot over the years through that very direct football, and it's wound me up. And really nice we played them this season and totally dominated them over 90 minutes, and they barely got the ball off us. And it was such a good feeling to finally say in your face to your direct football. I think there's a place for it. There's always some teams in the Premier League that play that way, isn't there? And every so often you get a team that come along and they're so good at it, they just do really well for a few seasons on it. But yeah, it's depressing. And so for me it would be Burnley too. I like Sean Dyche, so I feel kind of guilty.
Yeah, he is a good character.
Yeah, that's
probably
it.
crack some good jokes about it. Yeah.
I did also write down Newcastle just to save Mr. Ashley gaining any more pennies.
Very good point.
They've been dreadful, haven't they? I mean, Almiron, probably not very popular in the dressing room, but came out this week and said he'd like to play for a team where the players have more fight than Newcastle players, which says it all, really, doesn't it? If the players, well, it's a terrible time to say it for one, But second, the fact that he felt like he needs to say it says a lot about the state of the club at the moment, doesn't it? There we go. Right, 2 more points to go to before Line of Duty. Should Harry Kane leave Spurs this summer, Ralph?
Yes.
And why?
Because I think he should sign for. I think he should sign for United.
Okay. So self-interest, yeah.
No, I think he's. I think he's stopped. Well, Mourinho's not. But he's sort of wasting, and Mourinho's sort of wasting him away a bit. You know, he's not as proactive as what he was when he was under Poch. Yeah, all right, he's a clubman or whatever, but he's not the same Harry Kane. You know, he's not as pumped up as what he used to be. You know, I'd rather see him. You know, he's getting to that age now. What is he, 29? 28, 29?
Yeah.
If he don't win nothing this season, are Spurs ever going to win it? Well, they're never going to win anything, are they? So he's just going to be another. Is he going to be another Gerrard where he might have a chance at winning a European League but never win the Premier League?
If they win the Carabao Cup, I think that's enough for them to stay. Because it's all the trophy is a monkey on their back at Tottenham, isn't it? And you kind of think if they win one, another one might come next season, and you know, that's probably enough to satiate Spurs fan base is just winning the odd thing now and again.
I don't think that Levi will get rid of Daniel Levy will get rid of Kane. I think he'll be a real stickler like he has been over the years with transfers. I think he'll stay, and it'll take a lot of money to get rid of him. But I would say,
in Levy's eyes, everyone's got a price. I think.
I don't know. I think Kane's a bit different. I think I think Kane would be looked after. I think he's their most prized asset.
He's not afraid. Yeah, he will have a price because everyone's got a price, but he's not afraid to put prohibitive price tags on players that Daniel Levy, is he? And then
it'll be something stupid.
Yeah, 150, 180.
Yeah,
I think it was Jay said the other week. Who's gonna come in and who's got that money at the moment to come in and say, yeah, I'll pay 180 million £1 on one player when we've had a season and a half with no fans in the stadium.
Well, if you looked at it in two different scenarios, you got. Say, for instance, I know we mentioned him already. You got Haaland at 21 or 20, scoring you a goal a game or a goal point, 1.5 games, whatever, and he's worth 78 million at the minute on his buyout clause. You can get him for 78 million. That's his release clause. Or do you pay 160 million £1 for Harry Kane, who hasn't won a trophy yet?
Yeah, Jay, what do you think?
He's got to go. Yeah, he's got to go. But even if they sack Mourinho and bring someone in, it's then transition period, and like we said, he's late 20s now. He needs to go and he needs to win. He needs to win trophies. I think he would actually be perfect to go to City. I really would. I think he would be perfect because he just scores goals. Aguero leaving, so there's what is he on, 300 grand a week or something. I can't see Kane being on probably 150. So if they doubled his wages, and I don't think Spurs would put an unreasonable value on him. I think what Spurs would think is we could probably bring someone in and maybe look at someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's closer to Kane, bring him in, English, younger, probably still have money left over. I think City, Aguero will go. They'll look to bring him in. And I know what you mean about Haaland. I think the release clause is next season, so the season after, I don't think it's this season. But Haaland, 20, like City have got that much power and the money that he could go to a Real Madrid, play there for 4 or 5 years, and then they'll buy him when he's 26, and he's got all these goals and he's even better. So I think if you're getting rid of Aguero, you want to bring someone in that's guaranteed Premier League goal scorer. So if I was City, I'd go for Harry Kane, and then in the future, players change. Haaland might drop off. It's not looking that way. He's a great player, but if he goes to like a Real Madrid and scores bloody 1.5 goals a game or something, ends up breaking records, then City will then go in for him then. They've got that much pulling power, and you're probably looking financial fair play. Well, they get away with it anyway, but they'll relax the rules on that probably.
Yeah, that was actually in the sports news this week that UEFA were talking about scrapping it completely now. So there won't be any financial fair play whatsoever, which, you know, the big boys will just better go crazy then. The ones, you know, with the backing of oil conglomerates. We'll better do what they want.
I think City will dominate. City will dominate like Europe and the Premier League and Europe. I think they will if that happens. I really do, because they'll just buy like Harry Kane. But with Pep Guardiola, he won't go stupid. He won't go and just go right. I'm going to get 10, £100 million players. He will just buy players like Harry Kane, fits into his squad, scores the goals. But yeah, I think if Kane goes, though, he needs to go to a team where he's guaranteed trophies. I think United, would it be a good move? He probably would. He would score a lot of goals, but are they going to win what a team like City would? Or even if he went to like a Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid, I know they're not great at the moment, but I think it'd be a great move for him and United. But I just think if he wants to move from Spurs to get trophies, he needs to go to a guaranteed. Because City, they're guaranteed 1 or 2 trophies a year. That's just what they are. They might be the Carabao and the FA Cup, but they're going to win the Champions League soon. They'll win it in the next 2 or 3 years easy. They might win it this year.
Yeah.
So if I was him, I would just go where you guarantee major trophies.
Rangers or Celtic. Whichever one he goes to, they'll win. All right. So one last question, gents, to finish off with then. So if England, for whatever reason, don't have a good Euros, don't succeed at the Euros, and Southgate quits, we've then got a year and a half, because it's Qatar 2020 Christmas or whenever it is. It's in the middle of winter, isn't it? Who would you? So you've got to pick the England manager. Who would you choose as England manager to take us on that 1.5 year journey to the World Cup, Mark?
Oh, mate, do you know what? I really can't think of anyone. I'm trying to think so hard of who I would pick, and I can't think of anyone. Right,
Nice.
Guardiola.
Are we going realistic where?
No, you can.
Or are we just going to where 100% being still in charge for that?
Just choose who you want.
Maybe even someone like a Lampard or a Gerrard. Someone like that. That's the only people I can think of.
I'm waiting for someone to say Eddie Howe.
I think what we should have done before Southgate, I think Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, that ship sailed, I think. But yeah, I think he's the one that got away, isn't he?
I watched the thing on the Twitter this week about when he was they come back after an international break and he was in the studio, and now he finds it demoralising. He doesn't even watch it. He just sits there reading the paper while the commentator's talking about the painter from Luxembourg is on the ball, etc. I just think it's stupid. He should have been the man instead of Sam Allardyce years ago.
If only he hadn't got a bank account in his dog's name, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't think of anyone else that like you maybe not even like that. Oh no, he's Scottish and he did. He's not going to do England, is he?
I didn't say he had to be English. That's your own cultural head going on there.
No, I know, but he's not a Scottish. He's not going to go to England, is he?
I mean,
Chris Wilder.
I'm Scottish. I'm Scottish. You're asking me to be England manager now because I'm not sure if you are or not. I have to check my diary. Quite busy around Christmas with the kids. I'll see what I can do.
Alan Pardew.
Oh, good God.
Oh, I'll get back.
Well, I didn't say it has to be an Englishman, gent, and you've all gone for Englishman. So if I was going for an Englishman, I just go and get Beckham in. So Beckham, I know you've not been a football manager, but just turn up, be a bit poncy, win us the World Cup. Yeah, we'll bring in a backroom staff. We'll bring in Ryan Shawcross, centre back, no problems. Kieran Gibbs will be done.
Get back.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But failing that, what I do is go get Jurgen Klopp and win it with the German. Why not?
Ferguson.
He would love. He would.
No,
he would
far,
love
mate.
to manage England. He'd love it. He'd love it.
Night, mate.
He'd love it. Right, 9 o'clock. So to restart Line of Duty on your iPlayers or whatever, you just press and hold OK in, and it'll go back to the beginning. All right. Ralph, you went on last week, but I promised the lads we'd finish for 9 because we've got
That's right, mate.
people waiting
I got it
to.
on record. I got it on record.
There you go. Much more organised than I am. So, gents, thanks for coming on this week. I think we've got some Premier League games next weekend, have we? Or is it another week off? Can't remember. No, we must
Premier
have.
League.
There's no Premier League.
No,
There
it is. Yeah, Liverpool, Arsenal on Saturday. I know that.
Oh, I love a good mid-table clash. That's great. So, look forward to that.
It's lower than that now, isn't it?
So, gents, thanks for coming on tonight. Have a great week. We available as ever on Get Vocal, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook Live. So see you next time. Thanks for coming on. We've been Football Fever, and see you soon.